Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Jamie Dawn, your professional psychic advisor, success coach, evolutionary revolutionary. Today's video is brought to you for the week of March 26, 2018, and we have quite the active week. Call it sky, weather pattern, influencers, whatever you would like to look at it as. Yeah, wow. Where do we begin? We're starting off with the moon moving out of Cancer into Leo today. So there should be a lightheartedness, a playfulness, a feeling as though we're ready to create something in our lives. So just notice if there's a burst of inspiration. You know, I keep talking about this inspiration that shows up sort of last minute. And I do feel as though it's sort of out of nowhere, right? So it could be today that we get these little bursts of inspiration and into the next, I'd say, couple of days. And then it will start to get a little bit more, I don't want to say somber, but where we're going to want to put some details into it, organize these little ahas into some sort of tangible form. And so then once the weekend hits, we of course have this full moon in Libra opposing the sun in Aries. And I've been talking about it for the last couple of weeks about how intense it may be for many of us. And I say it intensely simply because here's this energy this week of going, oh my God, this is really what I need in order to create the next steps in my life. And how do I put that into some sort of organized routine and daily habits? And how does it affect my health, whether it's mental, emotional, physical health? All of these questions, all of these things are going to come up for us to look at, to say, what am I going to do with all this, right? So that by the weekend, we may actually, because it's a full moon, we're going to be releasing, we may actually say, this doesn't work for me anymore. And because it's in Libra, it is going to be challenging how we have partnered, whether we've partnered with another human being, whether we've partnered with a group, whether we've partnered in business. It has this dynamic to it of objection outward and subjection inward. And so we're going to probably feel a lot of push and pull. Any of you have a strong Libra influence in your chart, you will know. Or if you have interacted with Libras and those who have a strong Libran influence in their chart, you will understand what I mean by this push and pull. I would say out of all the signs, Libra tends to be the most conflicted of the mind because it's an air sign. So you'll find that they can come across, this Libra influence can come across very flaky or as if they just can't seem to make up their mind because they are seeing every side to the coin. There's not two sides. There's not a top and bottom, front and back. There is a top, bottom. There's a middle. There's here's another angle, you know. It's like the tetrahedron. They can see all these different sides. And so I feel as though this week, it's going to lead us into this opportunity to be able to look at our lives in this multi-dimensional, faceted way. So all of that to say, I mentioned on my social media, which you can go to jamiedawn.com and you can see I have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, all of these places that you can connect with me. And I love to interact with you guys when I'm there. And but I mentioned on my social media that this week we may feel like we're stepping through some emotional landmines, you know? And I say that because our emotions are triggers. When we get triggered, we have an emotional response. How we meet that emotional response, what we do with it, it just informs us of where we're at. I don't want to, it's not this hierarchy. It's not a better than. It just is what it is, you know? And so when these things come up for us, it's there to look at. It's there for us to be able to say, this is what I need to feel good. This is not okay for me. And these are the changes that I need to make. And you notice I'm using the word need quite a bit, because it's a moon aspect, right? The moon is what we need to feel good, to feel nurtured. And the emotions are very closely connected to the moon. So also, of course, keep in mind that we have Mercury retrograde. It went retrograde last Thursday night, Friday morning. And I witnessed, and I have been witnessing, quite a bit of accidents happening, quite a bit of explosions, people speaking before they think, acting before they think. There's car accidents everywhere. I witnessed 3 of them over the weekend. It was crazy. So can Mercury influence us? Absolutely. I have multiple reports about how appliances aren't working properly. My son showed me that his television had this little blue line going vertical and then a red one or a green one going horizontal, right? And it just appeared. Luckily, he took my advice and got a warranty on it. Yes. And so they're replacing the screen, but it's going to take a week. So all this is very mercurial. And so when it shows up, as annoying as, say, having those lines on a TV screen can be, it's actually one of those things, you keep your sense of humor. And because he's in law enforcement, he said the way it shows up, it looks like crosshairs for him. So haha. And I realize that's a sensitive subject too. So let me dial this back for just a second. We're working here in the US with gun laws and gun control, and I'm not making light of that at all. And I'm not going to spew my political stance on all of this. But one thing I will emphasize that I believe very strongly, and I realize that this could turn some people off or whatnot, I don't believe that weapons kill people. I believe people kill people. And so it's really important that we pay attention to how we use our tools, whether we're talking guns or we're talking our words, or we're talking our hands, or we're talking about our cars, our vehicles, you name it. Anything can be turned into a weapon. It is up to us to decide how we want to use that particular resource, that particular tool. And I can name multiple examples of this. Money is a resource. It's a tool, but it can also be used as a source of abuse, of power, of hanging. How many of you have had someone lord over you? They say, oh yeah, I'll let you borrow money. And then what? There's strings attached and they make you feel less than, and you know, or they make you do things, remind you, guilt you into doing things because remember that money I let you borrow? You owe me this. Yeah? It's a tool. And yet it's up to us to decide how we want to use it. And I want to applaud all of those young people and all of us who have stood up to the violence that is wrong, that have marched for what they believe in. I think that's so important. They were able to use that tool, the tool of our conscious speech, the tool of our amendment to march, to speak our rights. And I applaud every single one of them for using it in a positive way. So back to this week's, I know I'm running off on a little tangent, but I think it's important because going back to this week's energy, how we use the energy this week is going to be so super important, and we'll have the support. We have Venus moving into Taurus at the full moon. That I absolutely love because Venus is at home in Taurus. She likes being there. She lets herself get all comfy and dolled up and luxurious and feeling good. So in the middle of this intensity of a full moon, when we're releasing something, maybe, just maybe, we can do it in a way that's kind and compassionate, in a way that offers beauty to ourselves, to another person, to the situation. Maybe there's peaceful solutions that can arise. So if you are on the receiving end or you're the one who's made the decision to let go of a partnership or let go of something that is no longer serving you, I believe that with Venus in Taurus, there can be harmony. There can be peace that is a result. So let's hold that vision for ourselves and for each other. May there be peace, and may it begin with me. I'll leave you with that. I hope you guys have a great week. You know how to find me. I'm at jamiedawn.com, 12listen.com, and of course, 12 Radio every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, at Let's Get Real. My co-host, G. Brian Benson. We are mixing it up. This week, I believe we're going to be talking about resistance. Maybe a few other things. I think I'm going to talk about the full moon a little bit more. Possibly offer a couple of psychic hits in the chat room. So if you aren't sure how to get there, go to 12radio.com, click the chat button. Always love to see you there. And that's a wrap for now. Or as they say in my acting class that I started a couple weeks ago, curtain. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll talk soon.